Hello everyone, I'm the Wind. I've just blown in. And today we are back for Seduce Me 2, The Demon Wall. Last time we began... No, was last time we began James's Path, or are we 2 videos in at this point? Anyway, we were trying to romance James, and then we ended up in the demon world, and then bad things happened, and now I can't go home because my father-in-law is a moron, and this ended with me in a room sneaking out, and now Diana and her assistant are making out in front of me. Good times. Yay! Let's get into it, shall we? I remained in my room until the night came. I was given food, which looked like soup. I don't know, soup could be good. The woman who gave it to me apologized, letting me know that food was scarce until the upcoming harvest, which was a couple of days away. Being that I was the only staying a day of the day, I didn't mind much. I mean, they're still you know. I was more concerned over what I was given to eat. Doesn't look that bad, just looks like stew. I mean, I'm not a big fan of carrot, and that looks like a pretty big carrot, but I know there's some kind of meat, looks like a potato, maybe a parsnip, some scallion. I don't know, looks pretty good to me. It was some sort of stew with mysterious chunks swimming in its broth. Ah, mystery meat. Okay, now it becomes a bit more It smelled surprisingly good, but who knew how it tasted? Just eat it. You know what? Nom nom. Get in my tummy. I gulped. I had to try it. I had to eat it. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. Then eat, girl. Even before I came to the demon world. Wait, what? No. You didn't eat before your wedding? Wow, okay. I was pretty certain Diana wouldn't poison me now that I was fairly sure that she wouldn't serve me anything disgusting. Yeah, but it wasn't Diana giving you the plate, remember? It was a servant. They might not know what humans can and cannot eat. I lifted the spoon that was sitting in the broth, letting it capture some of the stew as it rose. I mean, it wasn't terribly scary to look at. I don't know. It's pretty demonic looking as far as stews go. I gulped and slowly brought the spoon to my lips, feeling heat emanate from the stew. A knock rapped on my door, breaking me out of my train of thought. Huh? Come in. Hey, lady! The door opened to reveal Diana with a plate, holding things I recognized, bread and cheese. I let out a heavy sigh of relief before Diana laughed.
I suggest not trying that. As good as it smells, the taste would not sit well with you.
I mean, you don't know that. Shove spoon into mouth. Instantly, I moved the bowl to the nearby table, thankful that I did not have to try it. Diana handed me the plate and nodded, reassuring me that what was on it was indeed what it seemed. Yay! You're not trying to poison me.
It's not much, but it's human food.
Yay! Nom nom nom. I will. I began to chow down, feeling the hunger in my stomach dissipate with each bite and swallow. The food I was eating, surprisingly, was delicious. Why is that surprising? Bread and cheese is pretty good. As I began to crave something to drink, Diana chuckled and formed a small goblet in her hand, filled with a clear liquid that I assumed to be water. Aw, no sparkle water, Diana. Go get yourself a soda stream. They're awesome. I took it and drank it down, feeling my thirst quenched before I let out a sigh. I feel so much better.
I can tell. Take a moment to finish eating. Then we'll head for the ritual.
Cool. Nom nom. I looked up at Diana, suddenly excited. Everything was prepared for. Was it possible to go home now? As she read my mind, she smiled and nodded.
We finished the main preparations. We just need to head over and we'll start.
So let's go. I can eat when I'm home. I couldn't continue eating. Exactly. My mind went into an obsessive frenzy of wanting to go home. I stood up, moving the plate and goblet to a nearby table. Let's go.
Huh? Are you sure?
Yeah. Girl, I married dress. Let's go. Very minimum, I want to go change my panties. I nodded, not wanting to waste any more time. I needed to get home, and I was tired of waiting. Diana stared before nodding and heading for the door, opening it for me and exiting after me. As she closed the door behind her, I began to feel my heart flutter in relieved joy. I was heading home. Keep telling yourself that. Diana led me down the corridors to the war room, where I had originally arrived, to reveal the table covered in plants and artifacts of different kinds. And it would be nice if we could see that, but they did not give us art for it. None of it made sense to me, but I had to only assume it was what was needed for the spell to work. No, they've just been busy redecorating, sweetie. This is all just clutter, really. Diana walked to the table and took the note of what she saw, nodding.
This should work.
Yay!
You're in doubt?
Have to be after the last time we tried sending her home.
True.
Do we have a human anchor?
Do we?
No, you're on your own this time. But we'll make sure you survive casting it.
Yay!
This spell should work, however, because we'll be using energy material. It will only require a slice of your energy on top of these items, which your guard can refill immediately after this.
Uh-huh. Cool. Let's go.
Just make sure you don't die casting it.
Dude, good results only. Shush. Diana smiled at her guard before turning to me.
So, are you ready to return home?
Yes. She didn't have to ask. I'm ready. Diana nodded once more before turning back to the table. She lifted her arms over the surface and lowered her head, muttering under her breath.
Otnibris portas, apriat nobis, largiatur exitium, desiderium.
Cool. As she spoke, the table began to glow as she did. A dark purple aura began to surround her form as she lifted and arched her head back, staring at the ceiling. A glimpse at her eyes made me gasp. Warm golden orbs covered her blood-red irises, glowing with magic. She was deep within the spell, and I could see it only draw energy from her body. The items on the table began to gleam wildly, lighting orbs floating from them and dancing in the air above the table's surface. They began to weave back and forth with each other, almost as if the lights were dancing to a silent tune. The other demon stepped back as Diana moved her arms up and pointed to the dancing lights. Aw, she has bardic spell Dancing Lights. Yay! Her fingers pointed into the air, leading the lights to follow where she directed obediently. She drew a large circle in the air, and the lights followed like a perfect trail, sending out and forming a large void in the air. As they finally stopped moving, they burst into bright light, causing the demons to cover our eyes from it. It engulfed the room, but died down just as fast, revealing a small tear in the air. Diana quickly leaned forward and dug her hands into it before pulling the tear apart, revealing a brand new car! My bedroom! I would have heard a brand new car. Diana continued to pull and tear open, giving enough space for me to jump through.
Hurry and go through! This is your chance!
Bad lady. I wasn't going to let it go to waste. I gripped the bottom of my dress and rushed forward, using momentum to jump into the air and forward towards the void. I could almost reach it. I could feel the air conditioning of my room right at my fingertips. I was...
She will never leave this world alive!
Rejected. The Demon Lord's voice rang through the air, just as I saw my fingertips pass through the tear. We stopped. The rest of my body was a red light, and forcing me and Diana back from the opening. Yeah! I felt my body fly backwards and slam into the wall before I landed on the stone ground. I heard Diana's well land beside me with a painful thud. I looked up and felt my heart break as the tear became wrapped in red lightning, zipping itself closed and vanishing into thin air. No, this could not be.
Damn it!
Agreed!
That should have worked. How could it have failed?
Ah.
We must have missed something. Was there anything we had forgotten?
No. I verified everything myself.
Then why was the Demon Lord able to overpower a gate spell?
He's the Demon Lord? He is freaking powerful?
I highly doubt you know either, brute.
Hey, he might.
Stop fighting! We need to make a plan and all of you are just being stupid! Stupid!
I know, right? Baka.
Are you alright, Isaiah?
Yeah, how about we worry about your queen right now?
I'm fine.
I was too lost in my mind to fully understand what was going on around me. I was so close. I felt the other side. I had almost made it home. Why couldn't I go home? Because your father-in-law's a horrible person. Diana's grunt of pain next to me made me shoot my head towards her, and I watched her slowly push herself off the ground and glare at the table.
The Demon Lord must have done something more than simply bring her here.
Cool.
What could he have done?
The Demon Lord is incapable of doing anything of the sort. His lackey imps must have done something to her.
Yeah, could be. What about one of his wives?
A spell?
You sound surprised, sir.
A curse.
Aha! I looked to the rabbit woman, seeing her stare wide-eyed at me. The other demons stared at me as well, and suddenly I felt like I was on display. Was something wrong with me? Nah, we're fine.
She will not leave the demon world alive. He must have placed some sort of curse on her to prevent her from leaving this plane. In order to leave, she'd have to die.
No. No. What? My mind went blank. Did the Demon Lord really curse me? Yeah, feels like something he'd do. Was I forced to stay in this world until I died? I could never go back?
Are you suggesting a barrier curse?
Possible.
That would explain the red energy that sealed the tear.
Huh.
But dark magic like that requires...
A lot?
Blood of 1,000 demons.
Ah.
He must have sacrificed part of his army to cast a curse on her that would prevent her from leaving.
You know, this was not on my gift registry. Did not want sacrifice of an army.
The Demon Lord is that desperate for her.
Well, it's not mutual.
The only way to break that kind of curse is to kill the caster, the Demon Lord himself.
Well, good thing we're at war with him, huh?
She's trapped here until this war is over.
This war of mine now. My body began to shiver violently. The Demon Lord killed 1,000 demons? Yeah, why is this surprising? We've established in the first game he is not a good man. Just to trap me here. Why? I slammed my fist into the ground and began to scream. I want to go home. Why? I could feel the sympathy and anger in the room, but I didn't care. I was beyond livid. I was far past broken. I was seeing red. Ah! My voice ripped through the air. A bright light erupted from the room once again. Everyone covered their eyes. But Diana quickly scrambled to get on her knees and covered me with her body. Dee, not into you like that, in this verse at least. Get off me. She held me tightly as the light invaded our space and slowly began to fade. As the light finally died, everyone moved their hands to see what had happened. In the air was a white tear that was slowly opening, facing towards the table. Something was coming. I could feel it in the air. The guard summoned his spear and pointed it at the tear, glaring at it and gritting his teeth.
Something's coming!
Let it come. In reply, Dana summoned what looked like a saber and placed it in front of us.
Ready yourselves! It could be the Demon Lord!
On guard. The other demons in the room readied themselves and stared at the tear, either holding a weapon or preparing a spell. I felt the air change, becoming heavier as the tear began to grow. The energy around it began to pulsate, making everyone in the room that much more tense. I stared at the tear as well, frightened as to what was coming. Was it the Demon Lord? His minions? My mind began to cycle through fearful ideas of what was about to appear. I know those yells of pain! My heart almost stopped. Fallen from the tear and landing on the table were 5 incubi brothers. They were piled one on top of another, having come through one at a time. However, as the last brother landed, the boys fell to one side, toppling off the table and landing on the floor. The rebels around me stared at the fallen pile of incubi, confused and surprised. As the tear in the air closed, the ogre man was the first to lower his sword.
What the hell?
Agreed.
Who are they?
Then the main character's cast.
Careful, they could be the Demon Lord's men.
They could, but... No. The rebels looked at me as I stood up, Diana following and still protecting me, and I stared at the boys on the ground. They all looked dazed and a bit shell-shocked from having fallen twice in rapid succession. I almost couldn't believe it. They were here, right here in front of me. My mind couldn't help but remember how I first met them. They had all been on the floor in my mansion, unconscious and wounded. Now they were in front of me in the demon world. I know them. Hi, guys! I stared at the one I was meant to marry. The one who they're gonna keep recycling this dialogue for instead of just naming him. Seeing him slowly shake his head and rise from the ground. Sam just looks like, I'm so over this shit, why are we here? They came to rescue me. He came to rescue me. My heart became overjoyed and full of warmth and happiness. I was going to go home. The question was, how? Pretty simple. We killed our father-in-law. Let's go. As the sight of the boys kept the demon's attention, a second tear opened above them, causing everyone to look up. 4 women dropped down from the tear and somehow managed to fall into the arms of the incubi behind James.
Whoa!
Aww.
I gotcha.
I don't trust him. Aww.
Whoa, are you okay?
You're the mind reader, you should know. She looks like your sister.
I gotcha, it's okay.
Eric!
Aw, so fancy.
Love, I've got you!
Aw. I stared wide-eyed. Their wives came too? I watched as the boys and girls finally planted themselves on the ground before looking around. As James spotted me, however, he quickly rushed over.
Love!
Aw, hey, sweetie. James. To my surprise, Dana quickly moved out of the way, allowing him to approach and wrap his arms around me. The feeling of his body against mine sent a shiver up my spine. He was really here. I instantly wrapped my arms around his body, burying my face in his shoulder and taking in his scent. His head gently nuzzled into my shoulder, as James curled over to bring my body close to him.
Thank God you're safe.
Aww. You came for me. I could barely believe it, but I did. The scent of his cologne and the texture of his clothing let me know that I wasn't dreaming. He came to find me. Now the question was, how would we both leave? Yeah, I'm still cursed. James gently loosened his embrace and looked at Diana, who was standing by our side and watching. I couldn't see his expression, but Diana stared wide-eyed and almost in fear of James. Why? 'Cause he looks kind of pissed. I mean, I think that's as close to disapproving as we ever get with his art, as limited as it might be. As James began to speak, I felt some sort of violent power change in the room. While Diana held dominance before the incubi had arrived, it was practically ripped from her as James claimed me once again in his arms.
Care to explain why my bride is here, Diana?
Sweetie, down boy.
Your father.
Exactly. Be angry at the right person. She's been super nice. I looked up at James to see him staring Diana down, as if he didn't believe her explanation. 2-0, tighten the hug. Let's let them have their pissing match. 2-0.
And why have you not sent her back?
Sweetie, she tried.
Again, your father.
Yeah, she tried. I watched as James' eyes closed further, almost hiding his whiskey-brown irises in an unimpressed but unconvinced glare.
As much as I despise my father, why do I have a hard time believing that?
I don't know. From beside Diana, the spirit guard stepped up and crossed his spear across Diana's body in an act of protection. He seemed unfazed by James's glare and almost felt like he was challenging him for a power play, thrashing it in the air. It was like James and Diana were opposing alphas and the guard was a protective mate.
Believe what you will. My lady was about to send her back before you came.
Yeah, this also happened. James looked to the guard and visibly sized him up. The guard glared, tightening his grip on his spear, but remained beside his mistress. As James looked back to Diana, his hold on me tightened.
Go on.
Go on? Diana sighed softly and placed a hand on the guard's shoulder, looking at him, but the guard refused to turn himself or his spear away from me and James.
He cast a curse on your bride-to-be.
Yep.
Barring her from leaving this world alive.
Also true.
A curse?
Yeah.
Yes. She can't leave this world unless she dies, or until we kill the Demon Lord.
So, I'm thinking we just move here. I could feel James' arms tense around me. For some reason, the look in his eyes changed from anger to almost hopefulness. Was he hoping that we would be able to leave? I hope so.
Now, I must ask that you recognize whose kindness you are testing.
Yours?
Set up.
Down, boy. Diana tightened her hand on her guard's shoulder, almost digging her nails into his jacket. However, her eyes remained on James. Now submissive. I do not see her submissive to his dominant stare on her.
We have been fighting him consistently and have successfully pinned him into a corner. Our next attack will be on the Demon Lord's castle, and it will be the final battle.
So we came just in time.
Succubus, if I may.
No, you may not.
The lanky man stared wide-eyed at Diana, but she ignored him. Instead, she continued to stare up at James, unfazed at her harsh tone towards her companion. James eventually released me from his embrace and faced Diana and her guard, standing tall and almost looking down his nose at them.
And when do you plan to attack him?
With a nasty snarl, the large demon male stepped forward and glared hard at James. I felt my body tense in reflex, but James continued to stand tall.
Why the fuck should we tell you?
Potential ally? How about we not turn him away?
1 week's time.
Everyone in the room shot their head towards Diana, mostly in shock or surprise.
What? 1 week?
Yeah. I looked at Diana, watching her unable to turn away from James's gaze. She wasn't entranced, but it seemed as if she wasn't able to even pull away from the gaze battle between them out of fear. It might be true.
Where is this number coming from, Succubus?
Good question.
We need to fully prepare ourselves for the final stage, which I'm certain will only take a couple of days. We've pinned him into a corner. The Demon Lord will fall.
Yay!
That's rather bold to assume.
I mean, is it?
She's right, though. We can prepare everything in that time frame, right?
Yep.
And if he does the same and attacks us before then?
He won't.
I watched as Diana walked over and cleared the table of the materials they had gathered for the gate spell, revealing a physical map of the abyssal plains. She pointed to a spot on the map, a peninsula surrounded by water labeled as the Decaying Sea.
We'll cast a barrier spell along the edge of the peninsula and around the castle. He and his army won't be able to move from that spot until we break it ourselves, which will be during the siege.
Good plan.
Where would we get the energy needed for that kind of spell?
We won't be using energy.
Okay. The other rebel demons in the room suddenly tensed up, staring at Diana in surprise. What was she going to do?
My lady, you're not suggesting...
The Demon Lord has shown how far he is willing to go to win this war. It's only fitting to show the extent we'll go to in response.
As much as I agree with you, this seems a little rash.
What are you guys talking about?
Good question.
Are they allowed to know?
Are we?
I plan to put a barrier curse around the Demon Lord's castle and army. It's temporary, so it won't need the blood of 1,000 demons. But it will need the sacrifice of at least one demon life.
Uh-huh.
And I assume you'll be sacrificing one of my soldiers.
Why would you jump to that conclusion? Diana's many things. She is shrewd, she is ruthless, but she's not stupid. She's not going to throw away an ally.
Is this our only option?
There are other options, but they will most likely take a lot of energy to pull off.
It just depends on what we want to do. If we want to do this immediately, then the barrier curse is indeed the best option.
But is it the only option?
I'm not opposed to performing the curse. As rash as it is, it will make our lives easier in the long run.
You expect me to hand over one of my men? My soldiers joined the rebellion to kill the Demon Lord, not to get their throats slit before even seeing the final battle.
Why do you automatically jump to it being one of your people? I'm very curious about this. What happened before I got here that was your mindset?
It's wrong, but can we really afford to spend any more energy? Diana already spent a lot trying to send the human back.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dee.
What is the other option?
The rabbit woman and the fairy moved towards the map and pointed at the peninsula.
We could form tall rock walls around the castle. Box him in.
It will take a lot of our energy, but we can recover in that week period.
And what will stop the Demon Lord from tearing down the walls?
He's not Jericho, he can't tear the walls down?
I can imbue the walls with holy magic.
Ah, that too. The incubi and I looked at him, all of us equally surprised. A demon with holy magic? How? And how do I know that's weird?
How the fuck did you get holy magic? You look and smell like a demon.
Look, he sub-spec'd into some playtest material. Don't ask. The guard held up his wrapped hand, letting the beads around it jangle with a sudden motion.
I've had the ability to use holy magic ever since I was taken in by my lady's family. There's no doubt that I am a demon, but I can't recall how I gained this ability.
Convenient. How is holy magic different than demon magic?
It's white magic. Unlike demon magic, holy magic isn't so finicky. Think of it as warding or dispelling magic. You can't bless air or anything that doesn't have physical form. but you can bless objects to fight back against other forms of magic.
Ah, cool.
If the walls were blessed with holy magic, the Demon Lord wouldn't be able to escape until we released him.
Nice.
Why not just trap him forever?
I'm assuming it's an AoE. It's gonna keep draining mana over time.
That's idiotic. He would still be a threat regardless. Holy magic doesn't last forever. And stone will crumble eventually.
Yeah, true.
He's right. We wouldn't be able to keep the walls up forever.
The situation became more and more complicated the more we discussed it. How were we going to go about this?
We can't just sit around and debate this forever. The longer we wait, the more we risk him striking back at us.
True.
But is it worth killing someone to trap him?
Might not be bad.
When we finally strike, we will lose hundreds, if not thousands, of soldiers anyway. What difference will it make to lose one more life on top of this?
It depends on whose life. I mean, are you offering up your throat, sir? Because if you are, I'm not gonna stop you.
Soulless fuck.
Oh, I'm pretty sure his soul is full of fucks.
We can still cage him in.
I bit my lip. It was a really tough decision. A curse or a trap. Which was better? Both had their prices, but we had to choose one. From the look of it, no one wanted to speak up. So I felt the urge to say something, because my main character entitlement is showing. Maybe I would be the one who determined everything. But which method would be the best choice? I say curse, I say, let's go with the trap. Everyone in the room looked at me as I finally spoke up. We needed to be better than the Demon Lord. He was willing to sacrifice the lives to trap me here. But it only showed how desperate he was to win, and how little he valued life. He would lose this war one way or another. It wasn't worth losing someone who could help turn the tide of war. When can you put the barrier up?
We can leave after this, meeting is over.
Cool.
Are you sure this is the best choice?
Not really, but it's also not my choice to make. It should be Diana's choice. The curse isn't the only option. We need to show that we're better than him. Everyone nodded, some in reluctance, while others did with confidence. I looked at Diana just in time to catch a twitch from her visible eye, but she shook her head and looked at the rabbit woman.
Are you quite positive this will work?
I am very certain. Since it will be just 3 of us going, we can shadow travel there and be back by the morning.
Cool. Diana looked at her guard and nodded.
Very well. If you believe it will work, then I trust you will make sure it does.
Cool. As the guard nodded and slightly bowed, the other demons seemed to let out a sigh of relief. They were worried about performing the curse. Diana shook her head before crossing her arms and looking directly at me.
So, since you'll be here for a while, we might as well give you names that you can use to refer to everyone here.
Yay!
Are we getting human names?
I guess.
Must we?
Yes. Diana rolled her eyes and gestured to each demon, naming them on the fly.
For the sake of time, we'll use simple names. This is Rabbit, our magic advisor.
Hi.
Sergeant, commander of our armies.
Hi.
Shadow, leader of our assassins. And Faye,
Hi.
our nomadic force ambassador.
Yay!
Sergeant, I'm a commander, succubus. Shouldn't my name be Commander?
It really should.
It's easier on the tongue, though, to say
Not really.
sergeant.
Sergeant, Commander. I actually think Commander is easier to say.
My lady, what shall they call me?
Diana looked at Serio for a moment before turning towards me, a look of seriousness emanating from her eyes.
You may call him Cero. He is my
Hi,
personal
Cero.
guard, and he is always by my side.
Uh-huh. Cool. The other demons in Sato seemed to be surprised. Was Sato his true demon name? Why would she give me his true name?
Are you sure?
Call him only if your life depends on it. Do not abuse this permission.
Yes, ma'am. Her eyes seemed to burn as she gazed into mine, full of hard intent and warning. I mentally noted her seriousness as she ran a hand through her hair.
Well, now that we have a plan and introductions are out of the way, I believe we can end this meeting. We have a lot to accomplish in 1 week.
Are you not going to introduce Thank You, My Brothers to your team?
What about us? You don't expect us to sit around.
Actually, I do. You all don't belong on the battlefield.
I mean, you say that, but...
Wait, hold on. That's not fair.
I will not take untrained and unarmed beings into a war zone.
Hold on. I interjected, stepping forward and crossing my arms at Diana. She seriously wasn't going to make us stay back while she fought the Demon Lord, was she? That's not fair, Diana. Is this really what we should do? We can fight too. You know. Diana squinted at me, pressing her lips together into a fine line. However, I meant what I said. We could fight, too.
You expect me to trust that you can fight in a war?
Yes? Question mark?
Let me and my brothers train then. We're demons, for fuck's sake. We know how to fight.
Do you really, Sam? The boy stared at Diana as she turned her head towards Sam. He was right, though. They knew how to train, so they knew how to fight. If they fought with the rebellion, there would be a better chance of winning this war.
You all realize this is a war, correct? You can die here.
True, but I have the power of safe state.
We understand completely.
We do too, Diana.
Aw, kitty stockings. Diana could only stare at our group as we challenged her proclamation. I wrapped my hand around my fiancé's arm, frightened at the idea of participating in a war. But knowing that we needed all the strength we could muster to finish the Demon Lord. This was the only way that I could go home. Defeated, Diana sighed and rubbed her temples.
Very well. I can't exactly keep you here like prisoners, so it will be up to you if you choose to train for battle. However, I highly suggest just staying here and allowing us to handle it.
Yeah, we're not gonna listen to you. I nodded, as did the others. This was really happening. We were going to kill the Demon Lord, and we had 1 week to either prepare for war or wait it out. Diana turned towards me and looked down at my outfit. I had nearly forgotten that I was still in my wedding dress, until Diana pointed at my chest.
Lumen infere, bellum tabescere, serene.
What now? I stared at her, unsure why she was speaking in Latin, until I felt the fabric around my body shift and change. What? I quickly looked down to see my wedding dress morph into an outfit that looked perfect for the demon world. What? 1, this is her dream dress. 2, wedding dresses are not cheap, especially not air quote dream ones. Bitch just ruined my wedding dress, and no. The white top shifted into a long-sleeved, oversized tunic with a leather corset and vest, while the bottom part of the gown split and wrapped around my legs, forming into dark leggings. My shoes stretched into long, knee-high boots.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it'd be great if I could see it. I blushed, getting used to the feel of the outfit. Of course it wasn't tight, but it was still something new along with the rest of the garb. James, however, smiled down at me and kissed over my forehead.
We'll save the wedding dress for when we return.
Also, damn it, he saw me in my dress. Right.
Faye, Rabbit, you both should finish your preparations and head over to the Demon Lord's castle for the spell.
Bye.
How are you going to get there?
I'll get us there, no problem.
Now I'm scared.
Just make sure we don't get stuck there or lost.
Good call.
No promises.
Promise something.
Sarah, make sure the job is done.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
I shall, my lady.
Nice meeting you, Saro. Saro, Faye, and Rabbit began to make their way out of the room, as Diana turned to me and my group. As they left, Diana let out a small sigh.
I will take you to some rooms you may rest in.
Aw, you're such a good hostess, Diana. Thank you, Diana. Diana merely nodded and led our group out of the room, towards our new temporary rooms. This was completely crazy. I was stuck in the demon world with the man I loved, and I had to wait until the war was over to even consider going home. I held James's hand tightly as we walked through the halls of the castle, now worried and remembering my nightmare once again. I began to feel nervous, nauseous even. There were so many things wrong about this, and there were even more things that could go wrong with this plan. Kill the Demon Lord? It sounded so simple. No, it really doesn't. But this war had been going on for a while now. Who knew truly if this was the final battle? The game devs? James most likely felt the nervousness in my hand as he gave it a gentle squeeze, catching my attention and breaking my thoughts.
Are you okay?
Nope. I couldn't lie to him. I was worried about this whole ordeal. Add on to the fact that we were in the demon world where James came from, and my worries increased tenfold. James gently squeezed my hand, leaning over to kiss my head gently.
Everything will be all right. We'll get back home soon enough.
I mean, do we really have to go home? I mean, we could just live here. You're kind of still royalty, right? I know, but... James looked to me, staring at me with worry of his own.
Are you worried about your nightmare?
Maybe. I nodded. The nightmare I had mildly plagued me, reminding me of what things James could potentially do. I knew it wasn't the truth, but a part of me became fearful of it honestly being the case. James furrowed his eyebrows slightly before releasing my hand and wrapping it beneath his arm, walking with me like a gentleman.
Whatever happens, I promise that no one will hurt you.
I squeezed James's arm, believing him at least for now. It was comforting to know that he was going to protect me and help me through this. We continued down the hall, led by our guard, towards our room. The others were given rooms apparently on the opposite end of the castle. Yay, soundproofing! While James and I claimed the ambassador's room I had stayed in the night before. At least it was a room I was familiar with. I began to space out, imagining what was going to happen. We would kill the Demon Lord, break the curse on me, and go home to be married. 'Cause it's that simple. That was the plan. But what if we couldn't kill him? Exactly what if? What if he was more powerful than we thought? James, however, gently nudged me, catching my attention and breaking me from my thoughts.
Did you know that time works differently between the human and demon worlds?
I believe it was mentioned last game, yes. I could tell that he was trying to calm me down, with something else to keep my mind on. I became curious as to what he meant. Time works differently here?
Indeed. In this world, time moves slower. What
Oh.
would take a day to grow in the human world would take 5 days here.
Oh, cool. I was astonished. Time was different? Yeah, he literally just explained it. I began to wonder, how long had I been gone in the human world if that was the case? As if James... Hey, that is Damien Shtick, sir. You are not the mind reader. He smiled at me.
You were gone for about 5 hours before we found you.
Huh. Cool. Also explains why you're not more panicked. 5 hours? I had been in the demon world for an entire day, but back home. I hadn't even been gone that long. It made no sense at all, but James continued to speak as I stared in shock.
When you didn't arrive at the hall, we sent everyone home and used our powers to make sure no one would be suspicious. Once everyone left, we tracked you down and came here to find you.
How big of an orgy did you have, sir? I nodded in reply, taking in the explanation. It was crazy to think about, but I guess it made sense. My mind wanted to fight it, but I had to remember. This was a new world filled with its own rules, so human logic didn't necessarily apply here. And you know what? New room, I think we're going to go ahead and cut the video here. Until next, Taklikatelak Hido.